I think a lot of people are going to have mixed feelings around this. I really do get the feeling that will be the kind of fallout to this, because at the beginning of the season, I was looking at Thomas Partey in pre-season. I remember this, and I was saying, man, he just doesn't look up to it anymore. He doesn't look fit enough. He doesn't look sharp enough. We know that you can't rely on him fitness-wise. We've seen that for years and years and years. Ironically, he's having like his best season fitness-wise, which is just typical, isn't it? After you get to that point where you feel like you can't anymore, you can't trust in him, he turns it around. There is that thing, isn't it, that they always say that when a player's in the final year of his contract, everything goes brilliantly, just to kind of try and lull you into re-signing them. But anyway, over the course of the season, Thomas Partey has been one of our best players. I think that's fair to say. Has there been the odd game where he's looked off it and all the things that I described in pre-season? Yeah, of course. But I think generally speaking, he's had a really strong campaign. And that has prompted a lot of talk over the course of this season with regards to his contract situation. Do you keep him on? Do you give him an extension? Do you look at him and say, one more year? Do you see him as a squad option? Do you still go and refresh in that area of the pitch, knowing that Thomas Partey could provide you cover? Well, there's a few elements and aspects to this. So first of all, I don't think that Thomas Partey is one of those players that you can bring in and out of the side. I think he's someone that needs the rhythm. I think he's someone that needs the flow. I think he's someone that needs to be playing regularly to be at his physical best. And so I don't see him as a Jorginho type. I don't see him the type where we could go, yeah, you can come on for the last 20 minutes or you can play in certain fixtures and then we'll hope to get the best out of you. I just don't see that being Thomas Partey's way. And some players have that. Some players have that ability to come into a game cold and pick up where they left off last time. Others need that rhythm. And I really do think Partey is a rhythm player. So I'd question whether that type of role in the squad going forward is right for him. But at this stage in his career, you're going to have to think about, what you do for the future. We're going to have to future-proof that area of the pitch. And unfortunately, as good as Thomas Partey's been this season, he isn't the future. He's going to be 32. Physically, I think his powers have waned a little bit. And then you got to think about the contract terms that you would have to offer Thomas Partey at this stage in his career to get him to stay with you. And you would probably have to give him a 3-4 year deal, which, given his history, fitness-wise, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing. And he's already one of the big earners in the squad from what we read. Therefore, you'd probably have to go a little bit further with that because, wages are always increasing, not decreasing, right? So you put yourself in a position where you're going to have to really push hard to keep him in terms of what you do financially. But there is a massive element of risk to that. And the more you give in terms of salary, contract length, the more risk you're taking. And I just think we've got to that point now where, as good as he's been this season, and he has been good, the risk outweighs the reward now. And I don't think that we should be looking to give Thomas Partey anything more than a 1 year deal. But I know that Thomas Partey is probably not going to want to accept a 1 year deal if Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, and some of the other clubs being linked are there with a 2-3 year deal. So, yeah, I just don't think that this works. I don't think that it's going to happen. And I don't think really and truly it should happen, as good as he's been. And for my estimations, at one time, he was as good as 6 as you'd find in world football at Arsenal. But injuries have disrupted that, probably prevented him from fulfilling his maximum potential. And, as a result of that, we've got to make a decision while factoring that stuff in as well. Because it's not just about what you're offering in the here and now. When you are signing a player up on a long-term contract, it's not just about their value to you today. It's about the fact that you have to consider, will his value to me still be the same in 2 years? Because in 2 years, I'm still going to be paying him X amount of money and he's going to have this long contract. Does it work in the bigger picture? And this is the thing with transfer fees as well, right? So you often get players going for certain amounts of money and you think, oh yeah, he's in red hot form. But as the club putting the money down, you're going to have to consider whether or not you think he's still going to be worth that in 2 or 3 years. And this is something that you deal with, I think, as you go into the market for sort of players later on in their careers. And contract negotiations, when he's on the verge of becoming a free agent, very, very similar, similar concept. And so I think it's right that we let Thomas Partey go this summer. but that gives us more work to do, doesn't it, in terms of the transfer market? And if you guys remember, I said to you all a little while ago that while everybody's sitting there going striker, 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 winger, 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 and yes, we need to address those positions. Yes, we need to fix those areas. Actually, we also have some other heavy lifting to do. And that's why, for me, it was even more frustrating that we didn't do the business in January or last summer in the attack, because we've come around to a point again where now another area needs fixing as well and regeneration. And so now we're going to have to spread whatever we have available between doing the business that we quite clearly need to do in attack, whilst doing whatever it is that we're going to need to do in midfield as a result of two likely departures, Partey and Jorginho, of course, who's the other one.